Hello, I'm Navi Pillay, and I'm the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights. Hate crimes against lesbians, gays, bisexuals, and transgender people are on the rise. Here in New York, just in the past 6 weeks, at least 4 young men have been brutally attacked in separate incidents. 2 of them later died from their injuries. In each case, the perpetrators shouted homophobic abuse as they kicked, beat, or stabbed their victims. Official statistics show that anti-gay hate crimes now make up almost 20% of all hate crimes recorded in the United States, up from 15% a few years ago. Last year, in Brazil, 250 people were reportedly murdered in homophobic or transphobic attacks. In Honduras, a wave of violence recently claimed the lives of 34 members of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender communities in the space of 18 months. And in South Africa, we have witnessed the horrific phenomenon of so-called corrective rape, committed by men who rape lesbians and then try to justify their actions by claiming they are only trying to correct their victims' sexuality. Unfortunately, these are not isolated cases. The problem is global. Ultimately, homophobia and transphobia are no different to sexism, misogyny, racism, or xenophobia. But whereas these last forms of prejudice are universally condemned by governments, homophobia and transphobia are too often overlooked. History shows us the terrible human price of discrimination and prejudice. No one is entitled to treat a group of people as less valuable, less deserving, or less worthy of respect. Each and every one of us is entitled to the same rights, to the same respect, and ethical treatment, regardless of our sexual orientation or gender identity. Some argue that sexual orientation and gender identity are somehow new concepts outside internationally recognized human rights standards. In fact, homosexuality and transgenderism are anything but new. They have been present in all societies throughout human history. Archaeologists have found artifacts dating back more than 4,000 years that depict same-sex relationships. But more to the point, the principle that no one should suffer discrimination on the basis of their sexuality or gender identity is already fully integrated into our current international human rights standards. 17 years ago, the United Nations Human Rights Committee, whose job it is to remind states of such things, confirmed that under international law, states have an obligation to decriminalize homosexuality and to protect individuals from discrimination on the basis of their sexual orientation. Other United Nations treaty bodies have said the same thing. But quoting the law to those who disagree is not enough. This is a sensitive issue in many societies. I accept that many people who oppose change are well-intentioned, but I ask them to think again. I remember when I was a child, there was a terrible stigma about being left-handed. Children who were left-handed were chastised, and the teachers would try to force them to write with their right hand. Those teachers may have thought that they were doing the right thing. But in time, we learned people are different. Some are left-handed, most are right-handed. It does not matter. The important thing is to let people flourish. I'm not for a moment comparing what happened to my left-handed classmates to the terrible treatment meted out to lesbians, gays, bisexuals, and transgender persons in some countries today. There is no equivalence. But I am saying that attitudes change. In this and in other areas, prejudice and bigotry are no match for information and education. So let us remind one another of what we are working for: equal rights for everyone, whoever they are, whoever they love. It is a great human rights cause and one that I am proud to support. Thank you.